Transurfer and the Transurfing Curious. My name is Renee Garcia and this is Transurfing TV, and today I'm gonna lay it down, y'all, because it's time. It's time you became more powerful, stepped in to your own power, and use this power this year, 2021. What a trip. We're in the future. Use this power that you already house within to start truly creating a new reality for yourself today. This is a 5-part series. Today, how to become more powerful. Yesterday and the day before, how to dial it in and how to disrupt protocol. These are actually going to come into play, and this is sort of why I moved through these lessons in this fashion, because being powerful is about disrupting the script, diverting from protocol, setting your own standards, defying the pendulums, and then also being able to dial in to that version of reality that you want to materialize. This is actually very easy as soon as you accept that you do in fact obtain the ability to do this just as much as anyone else. There is really nothing about me, and I've said this a few times, and I know people are like, oh, your skill set's better and you know how to do things, and you know, I've learned all this stuff, you guys. This is all stuff that I've learned how to do. This is power that I've harnessed for myself. This is skills that I have sharpened simply through the action of repetition and consistency, and acknowledging that just as much as there is an infinite number of realities, an infinite number of versions of reality, there are an infinite number of versions of myself. And one of those versions of myself is all powerful, right? Can materialize anything with a thought. I know that version of me exists somewhere in the alternative space, right? Now, I'm happy with just experiencing a percentage of that state of being, but all my actions, my thoughts, my frequency, my moving with the vector of the flow in which I have set, all of this stuff is moving me in the direction of that optimal version of myself, the most powerful version of myself. And I'm really happy with anything between here and there. But this was not always the case. I grew up very powerless. I was ignored, I was neglected, I did not feel I had any power. I moved into adulthood, putting myself into situations where I gave others all the power. I had none for myself. But the worst thing that I did, and this is where things really started to change for me, the worst thing that I did in my pre-transurfing reality is I continued to tell myself that I was powerless, that I didn't have power, that power was reserved for other people that had different skills and different abilities and a different history. And I repeated this over and over and over and over, and I believed it. And of course, we are simply experiencing a reflection, reality, the reflection in the mirror, which is an amalgam of our thoughts and actions and beliefs towards it. So if I view myself as powerless, and I think like a powerless person, and I don't take action because I think that I'm powerless, and my beliefs are all on this way of thinking, right, that I'm a powerless person, then my reality is going to, in fact, agree with me. Evidence to support all theories, right? You are indeed a powerless person, Renee Garcia. And I realize in finding reality transurfing and really accepting this idea, there's evidence to support all theories. I could choose a new theory for myself, and this is a theory that I'm fucking powerful, right? I'm super powerful, and I can do anything, and I can set an intention, and I can achieve it, and my reality will, in fact, offer me all the evidence, information, and material that will be in line with that new theory, right? That new theory for myself. Same goes for you. Same absolutely goes for you. I'm no different. I have nothing inside of me that is any different than what you have inside of you. Maybe you're just a little bit behind in connecting with what you need to connect with, or putting yourself in that direction of that more powerful version of yourself, because that more powerful version of yourself does exist. This is not a belief, this is a fact. This version of yourself that has more power than you have right now does exist, and it's actually very, very easy to connect with this version of you, and I'm going to break it down for you in a moment. Before I get started, remember to like this video and comment below. My world is taking care of me. To enter my daily giveaway for my reprogramming stickers, Reality 2.0 on Teachable, down below. Check it out. Join us on Facebook, International Transurfing Institute Facebook group, and reality_transurfing on Instagram. Check it out, y'all. So, how to become more powerful. This is like, oh my God, you can actually learn to become more powerful in 20 minutes on YouTube. How amazing. So it was originally just from the purple down, and then I thought of one that's really pertinent to becoming more powerful. And this is really in line with Tufte. Stop reacting and start creating. Okay, so a lot of people, I would say 99% of the world, 99% of the people that I know are just reacting to events. They're just reacting to external circumstances or words from other people, actions from other people, political stuff, things going on in the world, situations and circumstances that are specific to your layer of reality, right? Lots and lots and lots of people simply are in a habit of just reacting to the external over and over and over and over. Once one fire is put out, another fire flares up. It becomes about putting that fire out, and so on and so forth. It just keeps going like that. This is how the people in my family have lived for generations, putting one fire out after another. And I'm sort of the first person that has stopped the script and decided I'm going to, first of all, I'm not going to adhere to this script, but I'm not going to get myself into a position where it is all about putting out the fires, right? I can stop myself, I see my reality, I can withdraw from that outer screen, and I can find my way to my center screen and start creating, because it's in this creation that I actually start creating my own reality and growing my power, right? It's kind of like a cyclical cycle that you create, you become more powerful, you create more, and it just keeps going around and around and around like that. But you do not have this ability as long as you are simply reacting to the external, right? Or even reacting to yourself, your inner screen, keeping that negative thinking going, keeping that I am not powerful thinking going, all that stuff that doesn't aid you in finding your center screen or creating there. So the first step in becoming more powerful is really start to check yourself and understand where you are doing this, putting out the fires over, just reacting over and over and over. And how can you take back that energy and start applying it to creating. Now, a lot of this has to do with pendulum management. So I say here in my third step, break protocol and dial it in. These are the 2 previous day videos. I would highly suggest these because breaking protocol is all about pendulum management, and dialing it in also is about pendulum management. All these videos for this week, these how-to videos, are all going to have the element of managing your pendulums inside this, whatever the lesson is, because you cannot break protocol, dial it in, become more powerful, achieve your goal, start creating when you're getting ripped apart by pendulums. You have to take your energy back so you can apply it to these new ways of existing, right? So this second one, this is a doozy, and this is going to be a video on its own down the line. This was a conversation that happened in the Facebook group that was extremely high quality, awesome conversation. Somebody asked, what does Vidya mean in the book that you have to stop looking in the mirror and turn away from the mirror, and then once the images started to change, then you can peek at the mirror, right? And a lot of people don't understand what this means exactly because it is highly evolved thinking. I'll break it down briefly here for you. If you want to go more into it before my video launches on this subject, go back into steps 1 through 5 and look at the chapter, The Mirror World, okay? So my step here is to stop looking at the mirror and turn your attention inward. So what happens is when we feel powerless in life, we look for ways that we can have power in our external realities, right? This could be a healthy intention, right? I want to become powerful in my profession. Or this could be unhealthy, like you start to overpower somebody else in your life just so you could gain a sense of power yourself. But a lot of times what happens is when we feel powerless, we look to the external where we can find power. So essentially we're doing that thing where we're looking to the mirror, asking the mirror to change its reflection and show that we are more powerful. But it doesn't work like that. You have to turn away from the mirror entirely. You have to forget the external. You have to forget reality. You have to forget the image in the mirror entirely and turn away from it. Then start channeling all of that energy that you were bleeding out into your external reality, trying to gain some sense of power. Turn that inward and start creating power within. Start feeling powerful. Start resonating with a sense of being powerful. Start creating. Start taking action. Get your frequency up. The external is simply going to respond to your internal. So the only way to become powerful is to actually start to create that power within. It's already there. You got to tap into it, right? And reality transurfing is exactly this. It's tapping into your own personal power so you can see a different image in the mirror. Then when the image starts to appear in the mirror, like for me, I can peek, right? I can take a little peek and be like, oh my God, yeah, it's working. I am powerful. And then it's like I'm doing this just for confirmation. I'm not expecting my world to change just because I'm using inner intention, trying to will my world to show me that I'm something bigger and better that I actually feel within. This is a fool's journey. It doesn't work like that. It's time to bring it back in, turn your focus, turn your gaze back inward, and start doing what you can do to generate and get the power flowing within so your mirror responds with a different image. So stop looking at your mirror and turn your attention inward. Get the power going inside. Again, the 2 videos from the prior 2 days, this is how to become powerful. Breaking protocol, right? Diverting from the script, disengaging from the pendulum, taking your energy back, and then dialing it in, right? Dialing into your intention. And that, again, it feeds itself. So it's like, you dial into your intention, you're feeding it with clear, clean, burning fuel that is your energy that you have inside of you that you pulled back from pendulums, and then in seeing your creations start to materialize, this provides you more power. That power then goes back into your intention, and it just starts like a snowball effect. And it works. It actually works. So check those videos out. Self-talk, action, and consistency. Huge, 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 huge. You are not going anywhere if you're telling yourself that you're not powerful. You are not going anywhere if you're telling yourself that you are not deserving of things that you see other people having or being or achieving or doing or whatever it is. You are not going anywhere if you're telling yourself that your circumstances are too hard and you can't do it. So what is your self-talk? What are you telling yourself? And what do you need to start telling yourself? And this is the seed. This is really the seed. And this was the seed for me to take my power back, is to really adjust my self-talk and be like, you know what? That's bullshit. That's bullshit. You can have all that stuff, right? There is nothing reserved for anyone on this planet that is reserved more so for one person than for another. You are entitled, you have the power, you have the ability to connect with everything that is available to everyone, period. And if you can start on this cycle of self-talk, this is going to get your thoughts in line, your frequency in line, and then your actions in line with moving towards that more powerful version of yourself. Action solves everything. Action solves everything. If you are feeling powerless, take action in a way that you would think a powerful version of you would take. And in this action, you are going to start generating that power within. So if you continue to just sit stagnant, not taking any moves, you will remain powerless. If you can start taking action in the direction of that more powerful version of yourself, no matter how small, because if you just pick a small one, then that little action will generate some power, will get energy circulating in your external environment in a little bit different of a way. Then it'll show you a new way to take action, a higher way, a better way to gain more power in action, and then you move on that one. And then it just keeps going, and you keep building, and you keep becoming more powerful, and your reality gives you all the stuff you need to accomplish that. So consistency is another one. Being consistent in your thoughts, being consistent in your action, being consistent in your self-talk, telling yourself that you are going to get there, telling yourself that your intentions will materialize, telling yourself that you are getting closer, and consistently do that, you will get there. It is like magic. You will absolutely get there. This is not a wish or a hope or something like this is fact. This is immutable laws, Vadim states. This will happen if you can fulfill these requirements: consistency, action, self-talk, frequency, and creation, right? Escape the maze and accept yourself. So this is a big one. Check out the video that I did, Escaping the Maze. This is about the energy that's wasted trying to make yourself perfect so you can live up to the standards of the pendulum. Lots and lots and lots of energy is lost in these behaviors. Accepting yourself and just taking whatever flaws you have, taking whatever idiosyncrasies you have along for the ride in your action, that action will diffuse whatever you feel you have that's inadequate, not sufficient, some kind of flaw. The action will start to diffuse that stuff. And as the video states, you don't have to find your way out of the maze. The walls will just dissolve when you start taking action. And accepting yourself is key, right? Accepting yourself is key. Lowering your levels of importance brings the walls of that maze down, and then you can just beeline right for your goal, for your intention. Learn to tell others to fuck off. God, some of this stuff I write. Man, okay. So learning to tell others to fuck off, this really, and obviously, I'm not looking for anybody to start any major problems with people in their lives. And I mean this theoretically in a lot of ways. It might be literal, right? But telling someone to fuck off helps you in two ways. One, if somebody is extracting energy from you and is bleeding you out energetically, telling them to fuck off sometimes is the only way to get a pendulum person off of you. But telling somebody to fuck off for me is really about me tapping into a power that I haven't always tapped into. Well, for a lot of my life, I did not. And I allowed a lot of people to use me and extract things from me. And in my ability now to tell people to fuck off, I really have tapped into a space where I know that I have ownership. I have ownership. I have the ability to take ownership. I have the ability to take control. I have the ability to really decide what I want in my reality and what I don't want, period. And in this, there is an immense amount of power. Immense. So to wrap it up, one of the last things that I will suggest, the Vadim Zeland meditations, they're really amazing. And yes, they make you feel powerful. The remote seduction, if you want to feel powerful to draw in other people. I know this is a little bit controversial, but we're talking about all different kind of ways to feel powerful. And if you want to feel powerful in a scenario with another person involved, maybe this might be a tool. Magnetizing, look for my magnetizing meditation, the love object, the money object. These are really powerful ways to get the energy flowing in your direction of whatever it is that you're, intending on accumulating more of, love or money. These absolutely work. I use them. And they're powerful. And then finally, the plate. So the plate is a really valuable way to pull yourself back to that center screen, pull yourself away from your inner screen, pull yourself out of your outer screen, and activate yourself into that sort of optimal state of being within your center screen so you can feel more powerful. Now, you could do this, start doing this a minute a day, 5 minutes a day, maybe you move to an hour a day, maybe you move to doing it throughout your day for a period of time, whatever it is, but start just a little bit. And obviously, if you don't know what I'm talking about, Tufty live stroll through a movie. This is where the plate technique comes in, and it will definitely put you in contact with more of the power that you have as a human being that's housed already within that has not yet been tapped into. So let me know your thoughts on this one, everybody. How to be more powerful, y'all. Remember to like this video, comment, subscribe, join us on Facebook, and thank you so much for watching. Bye, guys.